9 months pregnant, stranded in the rain at 3 a.m. She thought it was the end, until a 12-year-old homeless boy stepped out of the dark and said, "Ma'am, I can help you give birth." Elena Greer wasn't supposed to be driving herself that night. Her assistant had left early. Her husband was out of town, again. And her mother had stopped answering her calls since the prenup incident. So, at 3:12 a.m., when the contractions came harder than they had all week, she grabbed her bag, slid behind the wheel of her custom matte black SUV, and headed straight for St. Joseph's Medical Center. Alone, she made it only 12 blocks. At the intersection of Madison and Grandview, the SUV gave a low, stuttering cough and rolled to a stop. The dashboard flickered. Then, nothing. Alana blinked. No, 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 no. She jabbed the ignition button again. Nothing. Slammed the steering wheel. The baby kicked. Then another contraction ripped through her lower back like a metal claw. She screamed, short and sharp, clawed at the passenger seat for balance. She tried her phone. Black screen. Dead. Of course it was dead. The city outside was barely moving. Streetlights flickered. Traffic lights blinked red in all 4 directions, and not a single car passed. A thin drizzle started tapping on the windshield. Elena's breathing quickened. She wiped the sweat from her forehead. "Okay," she muttered, trying to sound in control. "I'll just flag someone down." But there was no one to flag. She opened the door and staggered out. Her designer flats hit the wet asphalt. She clutched her stomach, bent slightly, and shouted, "Help! Someone! Please!" The only answer was the distant hum of a vending machine across the street and the low wheeze of the breeze. And then she heard it, a voice, small, steady, almost too calm for the situation. "Ma'am, I can help you give birth." She turned sharply, clutching her belly like a shield. Her heart jumped to her throat. Sitting under a weak street lamp about 20 feet away was a kid. He couldn't have been older than 12. Black, skinny, barefoot. An oversized hoodie swallowed his frame and his gym shorts were soaked to the hem. He was perched on a milk crate near the corner convenience store that hadn't been open in years. He didn't move toward her, didn't even stand up, just looked at her. Serious, calm, like he'd been waiting. She blinked at him. What did you say?" "I can help you," he repeated. "You're gonna need someone soon. I've seen it before." Alana staggered backward. Her heel caught the edge of the curb. She stumbled, caught herself on the SUV's doorframe, and hissed through clenched teeth as another contraction took hold. "I'm calling 911!" she yelled, fumbling for her useless phone again. Still dead. She looked back at the boy. "I don't need you. Go away!" He didn't flinch, didn't argue, just said, "Your water's gonna break soon. Then you won't be able to walk." That's when it hit her. He wasn't guessing. She glanced down. Her inner thighs were damp. She hadn't even noticed it. A deep, strangled breath left her throat. "How do you know that?" The boy finally stood up. He didn't walk closer, just stood under the street lamp, skinny legs braced against the cold. "My mom used to deliver babies," he said. "At home. I used to help her. I know what I'm doing." Alana's body said, "Run," but her gut, some deeper voice she hadn't heard in years, whispered something else. Another contraction hit. This one worse. She couldn't scream this time, just dropped to her knees by the car and whimpered. "Okay," she gasped. "Okay, okay." He walked over, slowly, hands visible, eyes locked on hers. He stopped a few feet away. "You need to sit somewhere clean," he said. "Not the pavement. Not the car seat either. It's too low. There's a bakery behind you. Covered porch. Can you walk?" Alana stared at him, every nerve on fire. Then, wordlessly, she nodded. He stepped beside her and offered his arm. And without saying anything else, she took it. But that voice didn't come from a man. It came from a child. The boy's arm was skinny but steady. His hoodie smelled faintly of gasoline and damp cardboard. But it didn't matter. Alana was gripping it like it was the only thing keeping her upright. He led her slowly, carefully, around the back of the shuttered bakery. She winced with every step. The overhang above the bakery's rear entrance offered just enough shelter from the drizzle. A torn plastic lawn chair lay on its side near the wall. Tariq kicked aside a couple of wrappers and laid down an old moving blanket he'd stashed behind a crate. It was stained but dry. He gestured for her to sit. Alana looked down at it, then back up at him. You sleep here? He shrugged, helping her lower herself down. When it's not too cold. Or wet. She eased herself onto the blanket, groaning with the movement. Her breathing was erratic now, and her face had gone pale. What's your name? She asked. Her voice dry and small. Tariq, he said. Tariq Benson. She managed a tight nod. I'm Alana. He nodded back, then crouched beside her, scanning her face. You're about 4 minutes apart now. Alana blinked. You timed me? He didn't answer. Just lifted her wrist gently and checked her pulse. His fingers were cold, but his touch was surprisingly careful. My mom used to say, when they're 5 minutes apart, get ready. When they're 4, stay close. When they're 3, don't go nowhere. Where is she now? Alana asked. Tariq hesitated for a second. Gone. She didn't ask how. Something about the way he said it made her stop herself. Another contraction hit hard, and this time Alana leaned forward and grabbed Tariq's hoodie. Her face twisted in pain. I can't do this here. On the street. What if something goes wrong? He didn't panic. Didn't even blink. You already started. You can't stop it now. He grabbed an old shopping bag from under the crate and pulled out a few folded pieces of cloth. Worn towels. One looked like it used to be a baby blanket. Another had stains that made her stomach turn. I boiled them yesterday in the diner kitchen when no one was watching, he said quickly. They're clean. I promise. Alana's head spun. This couldn't be happening. A 12-year-old boy was about to deliver her baby behind a bakery. And yet, he knew things. Things most kids wouldn't even come close to knowing. He laid the towels out next to her, smoothing one under her back. You're gonna have to take deep breaths now. In through your nose, out through your mouth. She tried, but her body was shaking. Hey, he said, his voice soft. Look at me. She did. You ain't alone, all right? I'm right here, just like I was with my mom. I know what to do. Alana stared at him. There was something about his tone, not rehearsed, not robotic, like he really believed it. She nodded once. Good, he said. Now tell me when the next one starts. A moment passed. Then she squeezed his arm. Now, he nodded. That's number 6. You're moving fast. Is that bad? It means your baby wants out. Fast. We gotta work with her, not against her. Her? Alana asked. He smiled faintly, just a feeling. She let out a shaky laugh. Half pain, half fear. You better be right. I am, he said simply. Then she grabbed his wrist again, her voice suddenly sharp. Tariq, if something happens to me, nothing will. But if it does, I'll take care of her. I swear. She held his gaze. He didn't look away, and for the first time that night, something inside her shifted. Not the baby, something else. Trust, maybe, or surrender. She didn't trust him, but her body was already deciding for her. The sky was still that bruised blue before dawn, clouds low and heavy. Somewhere in the distance, a garbage truck rumbled down a parallel street, but here, behind the shuttered bakery, it was just Tariq, Alana, and the sharp ticking of pain between her ribs. She was on her side now, one leg bent, gripping the edge of the blanket with white knuckles. Her back ached like it was tearing in two. How long? She whispered through her teeth. Tariq glanced at a broken wristwatch he kept tied to his shoe. The face was scratched, but the seconds ticked steady, 3.5 minutes apart. Might be less. Alana let out a strangled sound. It's too soon. My due date isn't until next week. Babies don't care about due dates, he said simply. They come when they want, she grunted. That's not comforting. He cracked a small grin. Wasn't meant to be. The smile faded as he moved to kneel near her hips, laying out one of the dry towels beside her. He checked her face again. Her cheeks were flushed, sweat lining her hairline. You're doing good, he said. Better than some of the grown folks I've seen. Alana breathed in through her nose, held it, then let it out slow. How many have you seen? About 8. Her eyes widened. 8 births? My mom used to do this a lot. Folks didn't always want to go to the hospital. I held hands, boiled water, helped hold legs, even cut the cord one time when she fainted. Alana almost laughed at that, but another contraction clamped her stomach like a vice. She sucked in air, hard. Okay, this one's bad. Oh God, it's bad. You gotta breathe, Miss Alana, Tariq said, his voice firmer now. Short, steady. Don't fight it. She bit down on her lip and tried. The pressure was unbearable, but something about the way he spoke, like he wasn't afraid of the moment, kept her from losing herself. Tariq reached into the crate behind him and pulled out a bottle of water, nearly full. Drink, he said. She hesitated. Where did you get this? Back of the gym, he answered. Filter's busted, but the water's good. She drank, slowly, and it helped. Just a little. Then came a pause, a lull. Alana leaned her head back against the cold brick wall and asked the question that had been digging at her since he first appeared. Where's your family? He didn't look at her right away. It was just me and my mom, and after she died? He picked at the fraying edge of the blanket. Foster stuff. Didn't stick. Her throat tightened. They just left you out here? I left them, he said. Places weren't safe. Some had bugs. Some had people worse than the bugs. Alana stared at him. She tried to imagine this kid, this calm, careful boy, navigating that world alone. It made her stomach twist worse than the labor. Tariq cleared his throat. A lot of people don't really see us. Street kids, I mean. They just keep walking. I didn't even see you until you spoke, she admitted. That's the trick, he said. Sometimes you survive by being invisible. He looked up suddenly. Is that another one? She nodded, already gripping the edge of the crate. Tariq moved quickly. Okay, this is the big stuff now. You're about to feel pressure. Like you gotta go to the bathroom bad. That's the baby moving down. Alana whimpered. No, it's too fast. I know it feels like that. But it's not too fast. It's right on time. He grabbed her hand and squeezed. You ain't doing this alone. Not while I'm here. Alana closed her eyes, tears slipping down her cheeks as her body clenched again. He held her hand tighter. But what she didn't know was that he had done this before. The rain had eased into a mist now, a slow drip from the bakery's sagging awning. The air was cooler. Alana's breaths came sharp and shallow, but between contractions she could still listen. She needed the distraction. Tariq had gone quiet. He sat beside her again, towel in hand, waiting. His eyes were alert but distant, like he wasn't fully there. Alana spoke softly. Tell me about your mom. He glanced at her, surprised she'd asked. Most people didn't. She was the real deal, he said after a moment. Name was Doritha Benson. Folks called her Miss D. Alana closed her eyes. What did she do before you ended up out here? Tariq rubbed his thumb along the edge of the towel. She worked at a birth center in Lakeland, but she got let go after the place shut down. After that, she started helping women on her own. Real grassroots. Home visits, sometimes in places nobody else wanted to go. Why? He shrugged. She said every woman deserved to feel safe bringing life into the world. Didn't matter if you were rich or broke, married or alone. Alana let out a shaky breath. She sounds good. She was, Tariq said. The best. How'd she teach you all this? He smiled faintly. She never meant to. But when you live in one room and share everything, you learn just by being around. I'd boil towels, set up pillows, hold flashlights, sometimes hold hands. I never got in the way. Alana opened her eyes, watching him now. And when she passed? His smile faded. We were staying in this motel off Route 98. She'd been real tired, sleeping a lot. I didn't know she was that sick. She didn't want to scare me. What was it? Diabetes, he said. She couldn't afford her meds anymore. Alana felt like her chest was caving in. You were there? He nodded. Yeah, I was the one who called for help, but it was too late. She was gone before the ambulance got there. Silence fell for a moment. The weight of his words hung in the cool air. I ended up in a home after that, he continued. But it was no good. They had 5 kids in one room. You'd go hungry if you didn't fight for your plate. I left 2 weeks later. Alana wiped a tear from her cheek. You've been out here since then? More or less, he said. Some nights I get a cot at St. Raymond's, but they close early. You miss check-in, you're out. She blinked hard, trying to imagine it. Her life felt so far from his it was almost obscene. Heated floors, imported teas, nannies on call. She couldn't picture surviving 1 week in his shoes, let alone over a year. You're 12, she whispered. You shouldn't know any of this. Tariq looked at her, and for the first time, she saw something break through his calm. Not anger, not sadness, just something older than his face could carry. Life don't wait till you're ready, he said quietly. They sat in silence for a few seconds, her hand still clutched in his. Then Alana looked up sharply, gasping. Contraction! Big one, coming! Tariq shot into motion. Okay, you know what to do. We're in it now. He knelt, gently pressing on her knee. Keep this leg up. You're gonna push soon. Alana's voice cracked. I'm scared. I know, he said, but you're not doing it alone. She gritted her teeth and dug her fingers into the blanket. Tariq. Yeah? If it's a girl? She winced. I think I want to name her Dee. He blinked, caught off guard, then nodded once. She'd like that, and then, with the world reduced to breath and pressure, pain and instinct, they got ready. Now he was using her lessons to bring someone else into the world. The first scream echoed off the empty alley walls like a gunshot. It wasn't planned. It tore out of Alana's throat, raw and animal, as another wave of pain surged through her. Tariq didn't flinch. He stayed by her side, one hand on her back, the other bracing her leg. That's it, he said. That means she's coming. Keep going. You're doing good. Alana was gripping his arm so tightly now that he felt the bones in his wrist shift. Her face was flushed, soaked with sweat and tears, hair sticking to her cheeks. I can't, Tariq. I can't. You can. You are. Don't stop now. But her cry had stirred more than pigeons. Footsteps slapped the pavement from the main road. A man's voice rang out, startled and aggressive. What the hell's going on back here? Tariq's head snapped up. A figure emerged at the alley's edge. A man in a black windbreaker, about 40, holding a gym bag. He paused when he saw them. Alana, legs braced, mid-contraction. Tariq, kneeling beside her, hands near her thighs. Back the hell up! The man barked, rushing toward them. What are you doing to her? Alana turned her head weakly, panic flooding her eyes. No, he's helping me. Please. Helping? The man spat. He's a damn kid. Where's your phone? You need real help. Tariq stood, palms up. She's in labor, sir. I'm trying to deliver her baby. Her phone's dead. I've been helping her for over an hour. You're 12. I know what I'm doing. The man didn't look convinced. His voice got louder. No, I'm calling the cops. This ain't right. This ain't normal. Alana moaned again, this time long and low, her face contorting with pain. Please, she begged. Let him keep helping. He knows what he's doing. He's the only one who showed up. The man hesitated. His hand was on his phone, but he wasn't dialing yet. Tariq lowered his voice. Look, you can call 911. Please do. But while you're at it, grab that bottle of water over there and hand me that extra towel. She's in the middle of delivery. Right now. The man looked down at Alana, her stomach pulsing, her legs shaking, and finally saw it for what it was. A woman in labor, alone, except for the boy. He took a step back, then knelt near Tariq, still wary. Tell me what to do. Tariq didn't hesitate. Keep her head up. Talk to her. Don't let her drift. I need to stay near her hips. The man moved to her side, speaking in a low, frantic tone. Okay. Breathe, lady. You're okay. You're okay. I'm not okay, she whimpered. It hurts. It hurts so bad. I know it does, Tariq said. But she's almost here. One more push. I need you to bear down, Alana, like you're lifting something heavy. She gritted her teeth, lips trembling. Tariq, I'm scared. I'm right here. And then it happened. Her body tensed. A sound tore from her lips. Half scream, half sob. And Tariq leaned in, towel ready, his hands careful but confident. He saw it. A glimpse of slick skin, the top of a head. She's crowning, he shouted. Do not push too hard, Alana. Just breathe through this part. The man beside him muttered, You weren't lying. Tariq blocked everything else out. He guided the head gently, supporting it as it emerged. His fingers moved with the kind of delicate urgency only someone who's seen it, done 100 times, could imitate. And finally, with a soft, squelching slide, the baby arrived. Tariq caught her, tiny, warm, and slippery. She wasn't crying. He didn't panic. He wrapped her in his hoodie and rubbed her back, gently but firmly. Then, after a few seconds that felt like hours, a cry, high-pitched and perfect. Tariq looked at Alana, whose eyes were wide and glassy with relief. She's here, he said softly. You did it. But they were running out of time, and out of light. The alley was quiet again, except for the newborn's cries and Alana's ragged breathing. She lay back against the wall, her entire body trembling. Her arms reached out blindly, and Tariq placed the bundled baby into them with both hands, gentle like he was handling glass. She's okay, he said. You're okay. Alana couldn't speak. Tears poured down her face as she clutched the baby against her chest. She looked at Tariq like she was seeing something unexplainable. Not just relief, not just gratitude, something bigger. A shift, a recognition. The man in the windbreaker had stepped back now, quiet, phone forgotten in his hand. Jesus, he murmured. I thought you were some kind of, I get that a lot, Tariq said without looking up. Alana was trying to calm the baby, whispering her name. D, again and again, like a prayer. The little girl was pink and wailing, but she was breathing strong. Tariq moved fast, but stayed composed. He cleaned the baby's nose with the corner of one towel, used a second to gently wipe Alana's legs, then reached into his bag for the last item he had. Dental floss, tied in a tight loop. Alana's eyes widened when she saw it. Wait, what's that for? Tariq's voice stayed calm. Umbilical cord. My mom showed me how. I'll tie it, not cut it. We'll leave that to the hospital. She didn't object. She just lay there, dazed, holding her child, letting this 12-year-old boy manage the things no one else had. He looped the floss around the cord in 2 places and tied them firm, spacing them apart like he'd done before. The baby had quieted, blinking up at the early morning shadows above them. Alana watched, stunned by how quick it all had gone, by how steady he stayed. You've really done this before, she whispered. He looked at her and nodded. Not like this, but yeah, you saved her life. He glanced at the baby, then back at Alana. You did most of it. She shook her head slowly, still catching her breath. No! I wouldn't have made it without you. Behind them, the man in the windbreaker stepped out into the street, trying to flag someone down. We need an ambulance. She just gave birth. A woman's voice answered faintly from across the block. I'm calling now. Tariq stood, wiping his hands on a rag. Help's coming, he said. You just stay still. Alana caught his sleeve. Don't leave. I'm not. She looked at him again, really looked at him, his shoes falling apart. Hoodie wet. Eyes rimmed with exhaustion. How long since you slept? 2 days, he said. Like it didn't matter. Her eyes welled up again. But not from pain this time. You shouldn't be out here. He didn't respond. In the distance, sirens began to echo, faint, but getting louder. Flashing red lights bounced off the buildings at the end of the block. Ambulance is close, Tariq said. You're safe now. She reached out, touched his hand. You're not going anywhere. You understand? His expression flickered, just for a second, with something that looked like fear. Or maybe disbelief. But he didn't argue. Okay? 2 EMTs came rushing in moments later, followed by a young paramedic who froze briefly at the scene. The woman on the ground, the newborn in her arms, and the boy standing calmly with towels and floss and a soaked hoodie. Who delivered? One of them asked. Alana pointed. Him. The EMT looked confused. He... What? Tariq stepped back, arms raised like he might be in trouble. She needed help. I knew how. I wasn't trying to... Alana's voice cut through, loud and clear. He saved both our lives. The paramedic stared at him for a long beat, then said, Kid, what's your name? Tariq Benson. You stay right here. Tariq didn't move. Alana, barely conscious now, was still clutching her baby, but her hand reached out toward him again, and he held it. And then, there it was. A cry, weak but alive. The paramedics worked fast. Alana was weak, her face pale and lips dry, but her grip on Tariq's hand didn't loosen even as they loaded her onto the stretcher. She won't let go, one of the EMTs said, slightly amused but mostly surprised. Let her hold on, the other answered. The kid probably kept her from bleeding out. Tariq stayed close as they wheeled her toward the ambulance, his shoes squishing with every step. His legs trembled from the adrenaline wearing off, but he didn't say a word. He just watched. Watched her, watched the baby. Alana whispered something to the woman cradling the newborn in the back. The EMT looked over at Tariq and gave a small nod. Then she turned and waved him forward. You coming with us? She asked. Tariq hesitated. Can I? The woman looked at Alana, who was already half asleep, but her head moved. A small, tired nod. So he climbed in. He sat near the back, holding a corner of the blanket wrapped around the baby's feet. No one spoke much on the ride. Just the beep of the heart monitor, the hiss of the oxygen valve, the baby's soft gurgling noises. Tariq leaned back against the cold wall and stared at the ceiling. He didn't know what would happen when they got to the hospital. He only knew he'd gotten them this far. When they arrived at Mercy West Medical Center in Savannah, the ER staff swarmed them like bees. Alana was wheeled one way, the baby another. A nurse gently pulled Tariq back. She's in good hands now, sweetheart. Are you with her family? He froze. Family? I was helping. She blinked. Are you her son? He shook his head. No. Brother? No. The nurse's brow furrowed. Then who are you, sweetie? Before he could answer, someone else appeared at the entrance. A young couple, maybe late 20s, early 30s. The woman was holding a phone, pointing at Tariq. That's him! That's the boy I saw helping her. I called the police, but he's not in trouble, right? No, the nurse said, her tone shifting quickly. He's not. A security guard came over. Slowly, cautiously. What's your name, son? Tariq Benson. You live around here? He hesitated. Sort of. Anyone we can call for you? No. The guard sighed. All right. Sit here for a minute. Tariq sat. An hour passed. Then another. He was given a sandwich, juice, a warm blanket. No one yelled. No one threatened him. But no one came for him either. Then a nurse returned. She's asking for you. He stood instantly. They led him through the halls, past quiet recovery rooms, into a small private space. Alana was sitting up, hair pulled back, IV in her arm. She looked pale, tired, but alert. Her baby was beside her in a rolling crib, asleep. You came, she said. They said you wanted to see me. I did. She patted the chair beside her bed. Sit, he did. She didn't speak at first, just looked at him, like she was still trying to wrap her head around what happened. Do you understand what you did tonight? She asked quietly. He nodded. Do you know what would have happened if you hadn't been there? He didn't answer. Alana leaned forward a bit. We would have died, both of us. No one was coming. I would have passed out. She would have... I don't even want to finish that sentence. Tariq looked at the baby, sleeping with one arm curled near her mouth. She's okay, though. She's perfect. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Alana asked, "Has anyone talked to you? Asked where you're going?" He shook his head. "No one ever does." "Well," she said, her voice a little stronger now, "I'm going to." He looked at her, unsure. "What came after?" she repeated. "That's what you asked me once, remember?" He nodded. "Well, what came after is this. I'm not letting you go back to the street." But what came after shocked even him. Tariq didn't respond right away. He looked down at his shoes, muddy, frayed, soles cracked, and then back at Alana. "What do you mean?" he asked quietly. "I mean," she said, sitting up straighter despite the IV in her arm, "you're not walking out of this hospital alone. Not back to an alley. Not to a blanket behind a bakery. Not anymore." He frowned. "You don't even know me." Alana shook her head. "I know exactly who you are. You're the boy who saved my life, who brought my daughter into this world with nothing but towels and a steady hand. You're the one person who didn't look away." Tariq's shoulders stiffened. "I didn't do it, so I could get something." "I know," she said. "That's why I'm offering." He glanced toward the baby, who let out a soft grunt in her sleep, then back at Alana. "So what? You're gonna just take me home?" She smiled, tired but sincere. "Not like that. We'll go slow. But you need a place, Tariq. You need a shot. And my daughter," she glanced at the crib, "she's going to know who brought her here. And I want her to grow up knowing the kind of person you are." He didn't answer right away. He looked out the window. The sun had started rising, gold creeping up over the roofs and parking lot. The streets below were waking up. Early risers, delivery trucks, nurses changing shifts. Alana waited. Then, he finally spoke. "If I say yes, what happens next? You come home with me once they clear you," she said. "We'll figure out the rest. I have a guest room. You can stay there. Enroll in school. We'll talk to social services the right way." Tariq swallowed. "What if they say no?" "We'll fight it. I've got lawyers. I'll use every one of them if I have to." He shook his head, still trying to process. "You're a millionaire." "I'm a mother," she replied, "and I know a miracle when I see one." He studied her. Then, cautiously, he asked, "Can I still wear my hoodie?" She laughed. "Wear whatever you want. Just wash it first." He cracked a smile, for real this time. "Okay." Alana reached out and gently touched his hand. "You're a part of our story now, Tariq, whether you like it or not." He looked at her fingers. Pale, clean, manicured, resting on his own. For a long time, no one had touched him without flinching, without pulling away afterward. He didn't pull away now. The door opened. A nurse entered, holding a clipboard. "Ms. Greer, social services is on their way. They just want to speak to the boy. Maybe ask him a few questions." Alana nodded. "They can speak to me first." The nurse smiled and left. Tariq turned to her again. "They always talk about what's best, but they never ask us." "Well, they're going to ask this time," she said, "and you're going to tell them the truth." He didn't speak, but he nodded once. Alana leaned back in the bed, her face softening. "I was going somewhere fast, Tariq. Too fast. This baby slowed me down in the best way. You showed me what I couldn't see before." He didn't know what to say to that, but he felt it. Then the baby stirred again. Tariq stood and gently leaned over the crib, adjusting the blanket like he'd done it 100 times. "Hey, little D," he whispered. "You got no idea how loud you came into this world." The baby wriggled and sighed, then fell still. He turned back to Alana. "I'll stay, if I can go to school." She blinked. "School?" "I want to finish," he said. "My mom used to say, 'Knowledge is armor.' I never forgot that." Alana reached for her phone. "We'll make some calls today." Tariq looked out the window again. The city wasn't so scary in daylight, but Tariq's response wasn't what she thought it would be. 3 months later, the auditorium at Westside Charter Academy was packed with folding chairs, scattered applause, and the rustle of programs being folded and unfolded in laps. It wasn't a huge ceremony, just a mid-year welcome and recognition event, but for Tariq, it might as well have been the Oscars. He sat near the back, fidgeting with the collar of the school uniform he still wasn't used to. The navy blazer scratched his neck. His shoes, though new, felt stiff, but he was clean. He was full. And he was sitting between two people who made sure he got here on time. To his left, Alana, in a tan wool coat and flat shoes, held her baby girl, bundled in a pink blanket and snoring softly. To his right, Principal Guerrero had a clipboard and a microphone. "I'm proud to welcome one of our newest students," she said as she walked up to the podium. "Someone who's already shown more grit and grace than many adults I know." Tariq's name echoed through the hall. He stood up slowly. A few claps, a few curious looks, a couple of whispers. He walked to the stage, hands in his pockets. His heart was hammering, but he kept his eyes on the floor. "Tariq Benson," Principal Guerrero said with a proud nod. "Welcome to Westside. We're lucky to have you." He managed a small smile and thank you, then turned to look out over the crowd. His eyes landed on Alana. She gave him a thumbs up, rocking baby D gently on her chest. She looked like someone who'd finally exhaled after years of holding her breath. After the assembly, a few teachers came to shake his hand. One asked what his favorite subject was. Another told him she was impressed by his composure under pressure, clearly unaware just how much pressure he'd actually endured. Back in the car, he sat in the front seat while Alana drove with one hand, the other adjusting a pacifier in Dee's mouth. "I still don't get why you made me go up there," he said. "Because you belong there," she answered. "People need to see that." He glanced out the window. "It's weird." "What is?" "Being seen." Alana didn't respond right away. Then she said, "It was weird for me, too. For a while. After I had her. Everyone looks at you different. Like you're fragile. Or dangerous. Or both." He nodded, getting it in a way most adults wouldn't have. "Do you still think about your mom?" she asked. "Every day." "She'd be proud." He looked at the baby, who was now hiccuping in her sleep. "You sure you want to keep calling her Dee?" "I'm sure," she said. "Some names mean something. That one does." He turned to her. "You ever think about what would have happened if your car didn't break down that night?" She let out a breath through her nose. "Yeah, I think about it more than I should." And I think maybe it didn't just happen," she said. "Maybe you were meant to be there." He didn't say anything, just watched the streets roll by as the car turned onto their block. The house wasn't massive. Nothing like the penthouse she used to live in, but it was real. Brick, one story, with a yard that needed mowing. A little messy, a little loud, but lived in, home. She parked, and he unbuckled before she even shut off the engine. He walked around, opened the back door, and picked up Dee in her carrier. She was heavier now, eating like a champ, always kicking. Alana grabbed her bag and followed him up the walkway. "You know," she said, "you don't have to carry her every time." He looked back, smirking. "I like it." They walked inside, the smell of toast and laundry still in the air from the morning rush. Tariq placed the baby carrier in the living room, pulled off his blazer, and flopped onto the couch. Dee blinked up at him, then smiled, just a twitch really, but enough to make him sit up straight. "She smiled at me." "She does that now?" Alana said, dropping her keys in the bowl. "She likes you." He grinned. "She better." There was no ceremony, no big moment. But something had shifted. This wasn't charity. This wasn't pity. This was a new kind of family, built from chaos, held together by grit. And somehow, it worked. Sometimes heroes don't wear uniforms. They wear worn-out sneakers and carry memories that guide their hands. If this story moved you even just a little, hit that subscribe button. For more real, raw, and unforgettable stories like this, stay with us.